Good evening. Welcome to San Francisco Weekly News. My name is Diane Wesley Smith. We're going to talk about policies today. As so many policies we could discuss, we're going to talk about some policies as with regard to our housing crisis in California. We have an affordable housing crisis in California, the likes of which we have never seen. But so when we talk about housing crisis, when we talk about anything actually that's happening in our government or in our society, we always want to look at the law. In our free society, there are laws that are created to achieve certain goals. So when we look at that, when we think about laws being created, Senate bills, Assembly bills, um, on a local, state, or national, even international level, we have to look at the beginning of it, the foundation, which is usually started in an assembly bill or a senate bill, that which has to be voted on. So with that being said, that's why I have policies up there. You know, in the democratic process, as you know, what's supposed to happen is we vote on items, we vote on issues that we want, and we vote against issues that we don't want. Now, something very interesting has been happening lately since something very interesting has been happening lately. And it's actually what I was about to say I need to say. And that's since Scott Weiner has become our senator in California. And I did vote for Scott Weiner. I also voted for Assemblyman David Chu. We had Assemblyman David Chu on the show. More about Assemblyman David Chu, who's the chairman of the Housing and Community Development Committee, later. But first, let's talk about Senate bill under policies. Let's talk about Senate Bill 592. So I'm just going to give it to you folks because you know we have to keep it honest and keep it 100. But the cutting and gutting of Senate Bill 592, it bespeaks of a legislator who is Scott Weiner's inability to accept the consensus and he's all too willing to go ahead and plan to prepare bills that can serve as vehicles for the kinds of legislative maneuvers that he's making. Okay, let me show you this picture. This is how it starts out. Now you see the smaller building starts out in small. AB means Assembly Bill. SB means Senate Bill. And what we're seeing here is we vote and we say we say we don't want. For example, let's talk about Senate Bill 50. Okay, SB 50. We defeated SB 50 because we did not want to have anyone other than those of us in the communities, in the neighborhoods, deciding the planning and the composition of our neighborhoods. Okay? So we sent it back. We sent it back. We fight against bills that are not, when I say we, I mean you and I. So what they keep doing, we vote against something. We say we don't want unlimited housing. We don't want luxury housing. We want affordable housing. So they change the bills around. The California Health and Safety Code mandates that Californians are entitled from the very low to the moderate income. They're entitled to quality housing and life and the quality of life. Well, what, excuse me 1 minute. Let me just read this to you. So the cutting and gutting of Bill SB 592 bespeaks of a legislature's inability to accept the consensus and he's all too willing to plan ahead and prepare bills that can then serve as vehicles for these kinds of legislative maneuvers. SB 592 is such a bill. It was introduced by Scott Weiner on February 22nd, 2019 as a simple amendment to the Health and Safety Code. Get to know the California Health and Safety Code. Your protections, affordable housing protections, quality of life protections are contained within the Health and Safety Code. Okay, not it was excuse me. So, as I mentioned, 592, he introduced the bill. It wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't a controversial bill or even likely to awaken any public interest. But because the term housing appeared in the bill, SB 592 was still a bill that found its way onto a few radar screens. Many of us have anything regarding housing on our radar screens. Then on March 22nd, Scott Weiner cut and gutted SB 592 to drop the Health and Safety Code provision, which is required in the California Health and Safety Code. So he dropped the housing provision. SB 592 became a vehicle to amend business and professions. So that's under the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. Again, not a controversial bill or even necessary bill. Presumably, the existing requirement to update records, that's what we're being told, would be to read and include a website. But the change meant that the bill no longer mentioned housing, land use, or any other such term that could land the bill on the radar screen of anyone following Scott Weiner's views on real estate matters. So nothing to see here, folks. Just us barbers and cosmetologists updating our public profiles. As published by City Watch, Heidi previously identified, we want to thank Heidi Philstein for contributing this information. As she previously identified Bill SB 592 as a prime target for the cut and gut to try to pass SB 50 provisions this year, but particularly because, see, SB 50, we just defeated SB 50. SB 50 was a bill that was going to allow construction around transportation hubs, housing without affordable housing. So basically, we're going to have luxury or market rate housing around transportation hubs. So we all fought very hard against that because there was no commitment to affordable housing. So Weiner, he twisted arms, and now we have SB 592. So we're asking you right now to contact Scott Weiner and David Chu, because Scott Weiner's outrageous sneakiness with this Senate bill SB 592 and Nancy Skinner's shocking bill SB 330 are designed to silence us. How are they designed to silence us? Because we, the community, will not have the ability to speak on the composition of our neighborhood, affordable housing in our neighborhood. We won't have any say-so. Weiner, stung by his SB 50 defeat, has now created a cut and gut amendment, California cosmetology bill. It's a cosmetology bill, but he filled it with reckless ideas and luxury developer rewards. The fatally flawed SB 592 must be killed in August, no later than September, because if a city rejects a luxury housing project as too big or too small, developers can argue that it's not economically viable for them. So there goes your affordable housing. Exports Silicon Valley tragedy to everyone. Huge luxury dorm projects allowed in neighborhoods that investors would want to gentrify with pricey micro units. Okay, that's the tragedy that happened in Silicon Valley. Huge luxury dorm projects allowed in neighborhoods. The people in neighborhoods didn't have any say-so. It lets developers demolish 1,200 square foot homes to build 5,000 square foot mansions. Who can afford 5,000 square foot mansions in Silicon Valley? With no affordable units required. Now that's SB 592. Fatally flawed SB 592. What they're doing, folks, is we vote against something and then they change it and it's the same dog with new fleas. I think that's the way it's said. But it's the same old stuff. It's the SOS just done differently. So we have to pay attention. Now let's talk about SB 330. SB 330 is Nancy Skinner's luxury housing bill. It has no required affordable housing. Zero. This is SB 330. SB 330 off to the races. No stopgap, no affordable housing requirement. They're just going to have at us. SB 330 silences the public. It allows just 5 hearings per project, forcing cities to topmost boards, the Planning Commission and City Council. So what they're trying to say here is SB 330, it silences the public. We're only allowed 5 hearings per project, and it's forcing the cities to take these issues to our top boards. The community's not on the top boards. The Planning Commission and the City Council will vote, or in our case, in San Francisco, the Board of Supervisors. Goodbye to community review boards. It also allows the developers to sue cities for $10,000 and $5,000 per denied unit if a city says it streamlines housing approvals. Nope, it will jam up the state court with delays. The ability to utilize the relaxed development regulations, some of them I just mentioned and described in 330, read SB 330 for yourself. It places a limit on parcels where tenants currently reside or were previously evicted pursuant to the Ellis Act. So what that means is any protections you had, if you were evicted because of the Ellis Act, meaning that the owner wanted to, whether they did or not, they exercised their right to evict so that they could live on the property. There were protections for people who were displaced because of that Ellis Act. There were protections for people who had been evicted. And what we cannot afford is that people that own property. It is not fair. I'm a property owner myself, but the point is we're all together. There is only one race, it's the human race. And the haves and the have-nots, the disparity is too large. We can have parity here. We can have fair and equal treatment. Let's get together and do it. Because we have people like Scott Weiner, who by any means necessary, folks, he's going to keep changing new laws to us. And now they would have housing and transportation work together. And that's SB 1487. The affordability components are missing, folks. This is Scott Weiner. And this, like I said, I voted for him. Many of us did. What is very disturbing is they're referring to this bill as snake in the grass. But what's very disturbing is Scott is not representing people. He doesn't care about affordability for the average citizen. The haves and the have-nots, the disparity or the difference in between is becoming ridiculously great. It's un-American. Let's talk about some good news for just a moment. Before we talk next, matter of fact, let's talk about some good news. Okay. The good news is in the mission. San Francisco Mission Affordable Housing. We know the mission has affordable housing crisis. We call it the mission because it's our mission. It's our neighborhood. It's our centerpiece. That's where the warmth, the vibrancy of San Francisco and the homies and the brothers and the sisters and the bros and can all be felt in the mission. So Mayor Breed She, to quote Mayor Breed, she says, "We need more affordable housing in the Mission and throughout San Francisco so that our low and middle income residents can continue to live here." Mayor Breed, she knows what time it is, folks. Mayor Breed announced on Tuesday that the warehouse at 1515 South Van Ness will be, which was the home of the former electrical contracting business. It's going to be the site of 100% affordable housing. The new project, located in the Mission District, will likely serve families earning between 30 to 80% of the area median income, according to the mayor's office. The mayor's office on housing calculates that the average income for one person is $82,000, $82,900 per year. Okay, so we have work to do. The mayor needs our help because affordable housing at 82,900. Let me tell you, folks, that's prime property at 1515. It's good news. It's going to be affordable. The good news is it's not too late to correct what needs to be corrected to make this a truly affordable. The California Health and Safety Code. Please become familiar with the California Health and Safety Code. You know, we come out with new laws, but we have so much protection within the existing laws. The California Health and Safety Code is a wonderful document. It ensures certain basic human rights and dignities. And it doesn't have anything to do with $82,900 a year. That is not considered moderate income. Well, in San Francisco it is. So this is what we have to do. If that's going to be the moderate income, then where's the employment? Where's the housing assistance? We need the housing assistance. We need the education. There's a way to do it. There is an affordable way to do it so that all needs to achieve the goal of housing for all income levels. But again, let me just refer again to California Health and Safety Code mandates that housing is provided for the very low, the low income, the low to moderate income. And we're just thrilled to be adding 1515 to the 900 affordable units already in progress in the Mission neighborhood. I'd like to hear from my people in the Mission, our people in the Mission, because it sounds like we have some work to do. If the median income is going to be 82,900, and I know a lot of people in the Mission that aren't making that kind of money that are living there now. Right on for the people that are making the money, but the people that are not, they should not be displaced. And there's a way to create a win-win situation. We have some of the best minds. We have the expertise. What we need is the willingness so that we don't have to keep fighting bills. We should be fighting for housing. We should be fighting. I want to see bills on the Senate floor that include commitment to affordable housing. We haven't seen that yet. And AB 1457 is fine the way it is. If it's amended as Assemblymember David Chu has amended AB 1487, this is what he's proposing, is fine the way it is because the existing law provides for the establishment of various special districts that may support and finance housing development, including affordable housing, special beneficiary districts that are authorized to promote affordable housing development with certain property tax revenues that a city or county could otherwise be entitled to receive. AB 1487, Assembly Bill 1487 is fine the way it is. Oppose any opposition. Because again, let me just repeat this part. Let me tell you, 1487, AB 1487 as it exists now needs no amendment because the law provides for the establishment what we don't want is we don't want a Bay Area Housing Finance Authority. which will be hereafter called the Authority. Transportation and housing are two major separate entities, both with very unique infrastructure. AB 1487 would marry the two together. If they marry the two together, it's going to be clear divorce for you and me and for the public. So again, the existing law provides for establishment of various special districts that may support and finance housing development, including affordable housing special beneficiary districts. I say every resident that was displaced, that's a native San Franciscan or that's been here for any period of time, that they qualify for the special beneficiary districts, and we need to get about the business of establishing them fast track right away. And they would be authorized to promote affordable housing development with certain property tax revenues. I don't know about you, but I don't mind my property taxes going toward the establishment of affordable housing for my neighbors. And the city could benefit. We would all benefit. It's time to wrap up the show, but we need to talk also about housing, the Committee on Housing and Community Development. Find out what that means. Do you know what the Housing and Community Development does? David Chu is the chairman. David Chu and Scott Weiner together with Phil Ting. I'm getting just a little concerned. So I will be reading more, and I pray that you will as well. Because no one's coming to help us with affordable housing. The people we need to help us with affordable housing are here already. You and me. Thank you for joining us. We will continue to follow vested interest in affordable housing. You remember Bugs Bunny? Remember that rabbit? You remember the rabbit? The rabbit is gone, but the fox is going to get the rabbit. But there's no stop. You know how he always ran into something and burned and crashed? Well, that's what's happening with SB 592, AB 1497. Study AB 1497. I would tell you what it is, but I want you to read it for yourself. If you have any questions, you can email me at info@aaabayviewrealestate.com. I want to thank you for joining us. We're going to air this show for a while. We have a lot to cover. We have a lot of work to do, and we have to protect each other. If you've been in the Bay Area and you're being displaced, particularly in San Francisco, I want to hear from you because we want to do what we can. There's a lot that can be done. If you've been displaced, we want to hear from you. So you can reach us through the studio here. You can reach us on Facebook. I want to say God bless you. Thank you for joining us on San Francisco Weekly News. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.